Hello, everyone. I'm Christina, and it's really nice to see you back. We had a really great live stream recently, and it was great getting to know each of you. And don't be disappointed if you miss it. I was kind of a beta test. It was fun, but we'll do it again. But today, since there is so much interest in what is going on underneath the ocean, I thought I would come online today and give you guys a few fun facts. Some of them a little bit scary, but it's time that you understood better some of the things that are going on beneath the sea. So, we are going to start with the acidity in the ocean and what's contributing to it. Now, acidic oceans can, have mass fish, animal deaths, depending on the severity of it. It's just one of the contributing factors to the problems that are going on right now aquatically. Now, one of the hardest hit places in the ocean when it becomes more acidic is the coral reef. And we are all really well aware that the coral reef is home to a lot of species of life down there. So, with the coral reef seeming to die off, it's causing some serious problems in its own right. But why? In some cases, why is that happening? Well, it can be contributed to the acidity, the pH level in the oceans, because coral reefs have a component like limestone, calcium carbonate. And in cases of acid rain, acidic oceans, calcium carbonate neutralizes the acid and neutralizes the pH, right, in the water. And so at this time, we have more dissolving away of the coral reef. The calcium is faster than the coral reef can grow it. And one of these culprits, we're all well aware that, our oceans can absorb the CO2, the carbon dioxide out of the air, which can make this go on. But, while we are becoming aware that volcanoes are operating underneath the sea just as actively as they can be above ground, then it's also important to understand what a volcano can really do. I mean, when you think about a volcano erupting, you might be inclined to think tsunamis and, mass devastation, which we find most of the time is not the case, but it is doing something. When a underwater volcano really goes off, it actually emits carbon dioxide all by itself. And there was an article that I thought you might find very interesting yourself. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. It's called Volcanic Vents Give Sneak Peek of Acidic Ocean. It was published September 20th, 2011 by Life Science. And we're just going to read one little section as usual, but it pretty much tells you so much that, I'm not just coming out with these facts out of the top of my head, okay? It's actual science. And it says, the underwater volcanoes off of a tiny Italian island are helping scientists peer into the future of a world altered by increasing amounts of carbon dioxide emitted into the air and absorbed into the oceans. The waters just off the island of Ischia mirror the projected conditions of the Earth's oceans at the beginning of the next century because the volcanic vents found there infuse the water with large helpings of carbon dioxide or CO2, which turns seawater acidic. Research has shown that the growing acidic conditions are harmful to some sea creatures. Those that build their protective shells with calcium are increasingly prevented from doing so, so the more acidic waters become. Okay, it goes on to say the fates of these creatures and the stability of the ocean food chain are a major concern over the next century and beyond because of the carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere. So it's easy to go ahead and look at the textile mills, and it's really nice to know that there's a lot of companies out there that are working on um, getting rid of a lot of the CO2 emissions from these companies. And then you read about this one company that is pioneering algae, to help pull that CO2 out of the air. And it does it at a really amazing rate. It's really great to see that kind of progress going on. But a lot of times, I mean, you see on the USGS that these underwater volcanoes are having these burps, these rumbles, and maybe some, what's it called, eruptions along the way. But again, you might not always see a tsunami, but what you might see is the crustaceans that are underwater on the very sea floor, like lobsters, crabs, and what else is down there. You'll see all these things come up from the bottom. You'll know something is going on down there. It could be increased acidity, the temperature could be going up, it could be a number of things. But these volcanoes, they emit these gases and these fumes, and it suffocates these creatures. Now, some of these creatures I think are getting lost because of the fact that the magnetic poles are on the move. I think they're getting lost, and I think they're getting exhausted. That's what I think, because they don't have any injuries and they look otherwise healthy. They just, so that's what I think is happening to some of them, like the whales that we saw recently. But if you look along the rift between Africa and South America, and it's in the Atlantic Ocean, it goes straight up to around Iceland, straight through it. And you'll notice these little seismic activity on USGS pretty regularly all along this rift. And this is the same rift that is just riddled with volcanoes. It's incredible. Pretty intense. I mean, you can, I look at the Pacific Ring of Fire, and I'm like, wow, this is an Atlantic bad boy. And not far from this place in Africa, we have a major rift, which they thought was originally, it came out on the media that they thought it was just, floodwaters, but it's not just floodwaters. It is definitely sitting on a fault. And they believe that part of Africa is beginning to break away from itself. That's what is currently on the news. And we also have, it looks like another rift going on in Peru. So anyway, that's just something to give you a little bit of food to chew on. So, don't think that a man is the only one that can have carbon emissions. Nature itself can do it all by itself. Knowing how to recognize the chain of events that's occurring so you can get the right culprit is really important. And when you continue to look into what these solar winds have done with these volcanoes and what these volcanoes have subsequently done. Just last night, we had a really heavy storm come through Texas, and it was one of the most amazing light shows in the middle of the night with the most thunderous drum rolls that I pretty much didn't get any sleep until about 4 a.m. in the morning. But I woke up to the most beautiful day outside, and it was really great to spend some time with all of you. Easter weekend is coming up this weekend. Sunday is going to be Easter, and so I want you to really, I'm going to do a video ahead of time about Easter this weekend, for this weekend, and I'm going to let y'all really enjoy your Sunday and your families, and then I will talk to you again on Monday. But if I decide to go ahead and schedule another live stream next time, I'll just do a video and let all of you know ahead of time so you'll be expecting. All right? In the meantime, God bless, and I will talk to you